There is a new thing we learned, and this is that governments can turn off models just like this, like with a and in 4 hours, 5 hours, saying, "Huh, you have to stop delivering this model," or hmm, yeah. So this raises a really big question of how can firms react to that. Welcome to another episode of the Beginner's Guide to AI. Again, a personal one where I give you my Sunday afternoon opinion. And don't forget to follow the podcast. Go to beginnersguide.nl or go to your podcasting app or YouTube and follow because you don't want to miss an episode, don't you? And also, don't forget to go to AI for the 99%, where I have my tips and tricks for entrepreneurs, for small, medium sized enterprises, for startups. And there you can also subscribe and get all those podcasts also in your inbox. But now let's turn to the most important thing, how to deal with the dependency on those few firms. Let's start with the most important thing. There aren't too many firms who have AI models that one can use. If one thinks first, yeah, okay, no, there's really few that have really good models, then one has to take a step back and say, yeah, mostly you don't need to have the best models. There's certainly things where it's great to have a Claude co-work and have an agent running for you, but others also have those agents, also have those possibilities, and in few different specific tasks is important to have exactly those capable models. What's mostly more important is to have the context and have the information and have a fairly good model. That opens up the field a lot. From dozens of US models to European or Chinese models, there's lots of possibilities suddenly. There's, by the way, Indian or Korean models as well. One doesn't know about them, but there's a lot of there. So, in general, for those specific tasks where you need the perfect model, okay, you are effed in this situation. But if not, then think about why should you rely on just one provider? Do you do this with other stuff you do? I mean, it's this thing. Then, if you depend on one thing for whatever it is, and this provider, for whatever reason, can't deliver, then you have a problem in your chain. So, think about the same thing with LLMs. Do you really want to depend on just one of them? There was a case just now, this is I come up with the topic, that the US government closed down Fable, model from Anthropic, in really short notice, like a few hours, and Fable was killed. Some people out there already used it, already worked with it, and suddenly it wasn't working. So the governments can close down models. It's just not a theoretical thing, it's a practical thing that already happened. Yeah. And if you go a step further, just now, Sam Altman offered a 5% share on OpenAI to the government of the United States. That means they will have influence on who uses the model. And if you belong to the group blank, whatever it is, country, profession, ideology, they might close down a certain model for you. So it's not really unrealistic that something happens there because you have to think LLMs are infrastructure. It's a really basic part by now of the whole industry of the whole society. So the government is strongly involved in those things, and even the Trump government that at first didn't want to regulate, now they start thinking about, okay, we might have to do something there because hey, it's quite important. Meaning we have to have contingency plans for this. If not, yeah, it might be you use a specific model, a specific firm for your tasks, and they pull the plug, then you are effed. So think about what can you do? How can you have alternatives? How to protect yourself about such a downfall? The first, and I mean, the obvious thing, don't depend on one LLM. See if there are others that can do the work as well, and implement them. That means if you have a software, there's APIs, that means the access protocols. Build your software, build your product that you use internally, that you can, like, it's like with plugs. You can plug another air condition in or whatever if one doesn't work. So this would be an easy thing. Think about openness of your standards so you can use another one instead of the one you used before. If you don't think about those whole big things, like I have a software where I do need something, but you use your ChatGPT at home or your Gemini or whatever, um, for your small business, and you have your computer access to the chat or whatever, then it's a thing to think about. Now, yeah, mm, also this can go. Imagine it doesn't have to be the government pulling the plug, but there are those things. There were outages of ChatGPT. There are outages of other LLMs because they depend on cloud infrastructure and something happens there. I don't mean attacks. I mean just there was the AWS problem where they had some configuration going wrong and then nothing worked anymore. And all those LLMs didn't work because they relied on Amazon's services. So it can happen. And then it's good to have a service where you can just change the model. This means go independent. And this would be, there's services like Langdog or AI Box from fellow podcaster Jaden Schäfer. Those tools, I think there's a lot around, are from the interface, it's fairly similar to a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Copilot. You can do the same, and you probably have also agent features there. Most of them have them already, so it's basically the same. You just can change the models with a simple drop down menu. It's easy. You can change them while you're chatting if you want that, but that's not the thing we talk about today. We talk about this thing. You have all your information saved there. You build some agents. You have some project folders. You have some custom GPTs there, whatever you have there, and they depend not anymore on one specific model that can cut your access. A interesting example for this would be, I use a university version of ChatGPT that comes from the University of the Armed Forces, where I have a project running. German Armed Forces. So if anyone asks, it's in Munich, and it's a great university. And they provided forever now ChatGPT to me, which is great, and I thank them for this. But the version they have doesn't allow a backup. I cannot download the chats I have in there. And this is really a problem because you have a lot of chats in there. And before I had this version, I just downloaded all of my chats, which is possible. There's an export button in ChatGPT. So you can export everything, have it on your computer, and search through it because it's much easier to search through a static file on your computer than to search in ChatGPT. Also, if ChatGPT is down, I cannot access anything anymore. I cannot go to my old chats because ChatGPT is down. If I have a backup, I can, if this is on my computer. So just one of those things that can happen. And if you use an independent tool, I mean, also something can go wrong there, but you have more options and chances are high you still can work with what you have there because you can change models, you can change, you can have a backup, can use it somewhere else. It's much more flexible. A other point would be you don't support the big ones directly, but you support also the surrounding ecosystem of smaller firms that actually deserve our attention and money because they are treating us better. The big ones, they were not even starting with Google's motto, "We are the good ones." They are already bad. Mm, gray. Gray to bad, let's say. And it won't get better for you as a small fly caught in their spider webs. So be independent, go for independent providers. I don't mean open source models, but providers where you can use different models, but you can also experiment with open source models. I tried some. There is interesting stuff out there you can have running on those open providers that are independent. And for certain things, the answers are quite well and interesting. Anyway, big point here, don't depend on the big ones. You are in a lock-in, and they obviously try to make the lock-in bigger because they depend on you not being able to change. Know about this. Know about this because you in your firm don't get caught in a lock-in, because lock-in doesn't mean they turn everything off, but they can simply raise the prices. If you know that, you can prepare, go to services like LangDoc or AI Box and see what they can offer you. And I bet there's something in that is good for you. If you program your own stuff, make a API that can switch from one model to the other, so you don't have to depend on this. And that's for today. My Sunday thoughts here. And this is small farewell. And I want to give you a saludos with a good 11 años von Santiago de Cuba rum. And have a great evening. Thank you for staying to the end of the episode. Don't forget to hit follow on your podcasting app. And see you in the next episode. It's Dietmar from Argo.Berlin turning off. Salut!